All right, so in this lecture, we are going to look at the circulatory system. So let us look at the definition of the circulatory system and what it entails generally, the organs that are involved in the circulatory system. Now, as name implies, circulatory has to do with movement. Are you getting it? In such a way that it comes back to where it started before, in a circular form. Are you getting it? The circulatory system is also known as the transport system of the body. It helps to move essential substances like oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and waste products to and from cell using a pumping organ, which is the heart, and a circulatory fluid like blood. All right. So two major things that the circulatory system must have. They must have a pumping organ like the heart and circulatory fluid like blood, and also blood vessels that will actually help to conduct this blood to various parts of the body. Is that okay? Now, what are the features of the circulatory system? Pumping organ. There's always a heart or a similar organ that pump fluid around the body. Now, moist transport surface. The surfaces must remain moist to allow easy movement of substances. Now, aqueous medium. Material are transported in a liquid form such as blood or lymph. Linked pathway. The pumping organ is connected to vessels that carry the fluid to and from body tissues. Now, let us look at the medium of circulation in different organisms. More like, what do they use for to circulate their substances? We have humans. Humans use blood and lymph as the medium of circulation. Fishes use blood. Insects use hemolymph. Hemolymph, a mixture of blood and lymph. That is what we call hemo, blood, then lymph. Is that okay? That is what insects use. Why unicellular organisms like amoeba uses, when I call amoeba, I'm talking about amoeba, uses water via diffusion. All right. Now, let us look at the types of circulatory system. We have the open circulatory system. The open circulatory system is found in insects and some invertebrates. Basically, we have two types of circulatory system. We have the open and the closed circulatory system. Now, in this circulatory system, the open one, it is found in insects and some other invertebrates. Hemolymph, which we said is the circulatory fluid in insects, flows freely in the body cavity called the hemocoel. They flow freely. There is no vessel, like you can actually naturally see the blood flowing. There's no vessel that conducts the blood. Now, in the human body, until you punch a blood vessel, you will not see blood. Is that okay? It's only when you get to a blood vessel. But for the open circulatory system, the hemolymph is free flowing. It does not actually, there's no closed vessel, hence the name open circulatory system. There's no closed vessel where the blood is actually passed. Now, the flow is slow and the fluid is not always directed towards specific organs. Is that okay? That is for open circulatory system. It's mostly found in insects and some invertebrates. The reason why they call them open is because the vessel that carry this hemolymph or this fluid, circulatory fluid, or the circulatory medium are not enclosed, they are open. Then we have the closed circulatory systems that are found in vertebrate like humans and fish. Now, the blood is confined to vessels. The blood vessels we have the arteries, the veins, and the capillary. Hence the name closed circulatory system. The blood is within these arteries, these veins, and this capillary. Until you puncture an artery or a vein or a capillary, you not come across blood because they are enclosed. Are you getting it? Now, flow is faster and more efficient in the closed circulatory system. All right. Now, let us look at the type of closed circulatory system. We've already said we have closed circulatory system. Let us look at the types. Now, pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. Those are the two types of closed circulatory system. Is that okay? Two types of closed circulatory system, my dear student, is what? pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. Now, in pulmonary circulation, blood flow from the heart to the lung to get oxygen and then returns to the heart. So the flow of blood from the heart to the lungs is pulmonary. Anything pulmonary has to do with the lungs. Are you getting it? Flow of blood from the heart to the lungs to get oxygen, because oxygenation takes place in the lung. Oxygenation of blood takes place in the lung. We mean oxygen is added to blood in the lung. The oxygen you breathe in, it diffuses into the blood from the lungs. And that circulatory system whereby blood flows from the heart to the lung is pulmonary circulation. Then we have systemic circulation. In systemic circulation, the blood is pumped from the heart to the rest of the body to deliver oxygen and nutrients. So in pulmonary, what happens is the blood flows from the heart to the lungs, where it gets oxygenated. Then systemic circulation, the blood is pumped from the heart, the oxygenated blood now is pumped from the heart to the rest of the body to deliver oxygen and nutrients. Look at it. Pulmonary, from the heart to lungs to get oxygen. Systemic, from the heart now, the blood that have been oxygenated by the lung is now transported to other part of the body to deliver oxygen to other part of the body. You know, the body needs that oxygen to function for cellular respiration and to generate energy in form of adenosine triphosphate for breakdown of food substances like carbohydrates, etc. Now, let us look at the muscular pump we have. We have the heart. Now, I said the heart is a muscular organ that pumps blood throughout the body. It contains 4 chambers in humans. So the human heart consists of 4 chambers. We have 2 atria, which are the upper chambers, and 2 ventricles. So you might be asked, the human heart has how many chambers? We have 4. 2 are on the top, which are called the atria, singular atrium. Then 2 are under, which are called the ventricle. Is that okay? Now, those are the 4 chambers of the heart. If you look at this diagram here, you can actually see the chambers of the heart. Look at it. Here, this place, which you see here, is an, let me see if I can get, okay, this place here is an atrium, right? This is one of the atrium we are talking about. Here, this is another atrium. We have the right atrium and the left atrium. This one here is the right atrium. Forget about the way, if you put your hand, you think is the right hand, is the left hand side. But this is actually the right atrium. Is that okay? This here is the left atrium. This here is the right ventricle. This here is the left ventricle. Right atrium, left atrium. Right ventricle, left ventricle. Now, how do blood get into the heart? Please take note of this. Blood enters into the heart via what we call the vena cava. Vena cava are big veins, via the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. The superior vena cava collects blood from the upper part of the body into the heart. You can see this is the superior vena cava. It collects blood from the upper part of the body like the head, the neck, and the rest to the heart. Are you getting it? While the inferior vena cava collects blood from the lower extremity of the body to the heart. Now, the blood from the superior vena cava and the blood from the inferior vena cava, all of them will meet at the right atrium. You can see an opening here. Are you getting it? Superior collect blood, inferior collect blood. They will meet at the right atrium. You can see the opening of the inferior vena cava here. This place you can see here. All right. So blood drains from the upper extremity via the superior vena cava, from the lower extremity via the what? Inferior vena cava. The superior vena cava and inferior vena cava are big veins. They are what? Big veins. They are what, my dear students? Big veins. Now, this blood that is collected from the body, from the superior and inferior vena cava to the right atrium is a blood that lacks oxygen. It does not have oxygen. So we call it deoxygenated blood. This blood does not have oxygen. So we call it what? Deoxygenated blood. Is that okay? Now, this blood that is now here is present in this particular place you can see here like this. The blood from the inferior vena cava and superior vena cava will now go, are you getting it, to the left atrium. I mean right ventricle rather. From the right atrium, are you getting it, to the right ventricle. Are you getting it? There's a valve here. What is the use of valve? I said earlier, valve prevent the backflow of anything. So these valves here, they prevent the backflow of the blood to the right atrium. We said the blood comes from here and lower extremity to the right atrium. From the right atrium, when the right atrium is full, it contracts and moves the blood to the right ventricle. Are you getting it? Now, listen. From this right ventricle, this blood will now go through what we call the pulmonary artery to the lungs. Are you getting it? The pulmonary artery to which part of the body? To the lungs. Pulmonary artery to the lungs. Now, vein carry deoxygenated blood. That is the reason why you can see superior vena cava, inferior vena cava carry deoxygenated. Why artery carry oxygenated blood? Vein carry deoxygenated blood. That means blood will never get oxygen. Why artery carry blood when get oxygen? But the pulmonary artery, listen, this pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood. That means blood will not get oxygen. Where is that blood coming from? The blood that came to the right atrium, to the right ventricle, through the pulmonary artery. Are you getting it? This one you see here is the pulmonary artery you can see here, to the lungs. This one now will send this blood to where? To the lungs. Is that okay? Now, it is at the lungs that blood will now be what? Oxygenated. So oxygenation will take place in the lungs. Oxygenation of blood takes place where? In the lungs. Emphasis on that. Oxygenation of blood will take place here, my dear student, in the lungs. Is that okay? I told you that normally arteries carry oxygenated blood, but pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood to the lungs. That is what we call pulmonary circulation, where we said that pulmonary circulation is where blood flows from the heart to the lungs. What carries the blood from the heart to the lungs is the pulmonary pulmonary artery. So this pulmonary artery now is what carries the blood to the lungs. Are you getting it? Normally, arteries are supposed to carry oxygenated blood, but pulmonary artery carry the oxygenated blood to the lungs. This circulation is called pulmonary circulation, where blood flows from the heart to the lung. Pulmonary circulation. Please emphasis. Blood flow from the heart to the lungs is what? Pulmonary circulation. Now, when this blood has been oxygenated by the lungs, listen, when this blood has been oxygenated by the lung, let us say this is the lungs here, it don't oxygenate the blood. The blood now will now pass through the pulmonary vein, through the what? The pulmonary vein into the left atrium. Understand how the movement is going from right atrium to right ventricle. From right ventricle through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. From the lungs, it will now enter through the pulmonary vein. Vein are supposed to carry deoxygenated blood, but pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood. Pulmonary vein carries what? Oxygenated blood. Please take note. Pulmonary vein carry oxygenated blood. Normally, vein supposed to carry deoxygenated blood. That means blood will not get it. But there are exceptions. Like we say, arteries are supposed to carry oxygenated blood, but when it now comes to pulmonary, they exchange. Pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood. Pulmonary vein carry oxygenated blood, because once the blood gets to the lung will oxygenate the blood. That means the blood now is not carrying oxygen. They will now pass through the pulmonary vein into the left atrium. Is that okay? Then from the left atrium, it will enter to the what? Left ventricle, which you can see here. From left atrium, the oxygenated blood will enter to the left ventricle. Is that okay? From the left ventricle, this blood will now move and pass to the what? To the aorta, which is this one. And the aorta will now supply the blood to other part of the body. So blood gets to other part of the body from the what? The aorta. Are you getting it? That is the blood vessel. The aorta is a big artery. You should take note of that. The aorta is a big artery. Are you getting it now? So the general idea is this. We said blood flows in this direction. Or deoxygenated blood will not get oxygen. The one when the body don't use, no more oxygen, they will pass through the what? Superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava from up and down to the right atrium. Now right atrium then they come first. From the right atrium, it will go to the right ventricle. From right ventricle via the pulmonary artery to the lungs. From the lungs, when it becomes oxygenated, it is now sent through the pulmonary vein to the left ventricle, to the left atrium rather. From left atrium to left ventricle, from left ventricle through the aorta to other part of the body. Is that okay? Like we said, normally veins carry the oxygenated blood, artery carry oxygenated blood, but pulmonary vein and pulmonary artery is the opposite. Pulmonary vein carry oxygenated blood, pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood. Aorta is a big artery, it carries oxygenated blood. Superior vena cava is a big vein, it carries deoxygenated blood. Do you understand that concept now? Exactly. So you can also see a branch of the aorta facing down. This one is the one that supply the upper extremity of the body, while this one supply the lower extremity of the body. Now, between the right atrium and the right ventricle, there is a valve that prevents backflow of blood. That means when blood don't reach right atrium, right ventricle, there's a valve here. Between the left atrium and the left ventricle too, there's also a valve that prevents blood from flowing back into the atrium. Between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery, there's also a valve. Then between the left ventricle and the aorta, there's also what? A valve present there. Are you getting? Each of these valves, they ensure that once blood flows from one place to another, it does not flow back. Like the blood flow from right atrium to right ventricle. Are you getting it? The valve here ensure that it does not flow from right ventricle back to right atrium. It allows unidirectional flow of blood. Do you understand the concept? So once blood is flowing in one direction, it's not going back. That is the function of the valve. So anywhere you see that there's blood flow from this place to this place, know that there's a valve present. Right atrium, right ventricle, there's a valve. Left atrium, left ventricle, there's a valve. Ventricle and the aorta, there's a valve. Right ventricle and pulmonary artery, there's also a valve. Now let's look at types of blood vessels. We say arteries. These ones, they carry oxygenated blood away from the heart, except the pulmonary artery, which carries the oxygenated blood to the lungs. I've explained that. Pulmonary artery carry the oxygenated blood to the lungs. They have thick muscular walls to withstand high pressure. This is for the arteries. Now let's look at the veins. The veins carries oxygenated blood. All right? The veins carry deoxygenated blood rather towards the heart, except the pulmonary vein, which carries what? Oxygenated blood from the lungs. Is that okay? Pulmonary vein carry oxygenated blood from the lungs to the what? To the left atrium. They have valves to prevent backflow and thinner walls. Are you getting it? What is the function of the valve? To prevent backflow of the blood. Once the blood don't flow past, the valve will close to prevent the blood from flowing back to where it was coming from. Now, the valves in the heart. we have the atrioventricular valve. As name imply, atrioventricular, they are found between the atrium and the ventricles. They are called atrioventricular valve, like the one between the right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle are called atrioventricular valves. Are you getting it now? Now, between the atrium and the ventricle, that's where you find them. E.g., we have what we call the right atrioventricular valve. The right atrioventricular valve. That means the one between the right atrium and the right ventricle. It's called the right atrioventricular valve. It is also called the tricuspid valve. Is that okay? The right atrioventricular valve is also called the what? The tricuspid valve. The one between the right atrium and the right ventricle is also called tricuspid. Why? Because the valve has three cups, something like this. That's why they call it a tricuspid valve. It has three cups. This one here is a tricuspid valve, right atrium, right ventricle. Why the one between the left atrium and the left ventricle is called a bicuspid valve. Emphasis. Take note of these things I'm telling you. Right atrium, right ventricle, tricuspid. Left atrium, left ventricle, bicuspid. Is that okay? Bicuspid valve or the left atrioventricular valve. They may just say left atrioventricular valve is also known as what? Bicuspid valve. Right atrioventricular valve is also known as what? Tricuspid valve. Take note. Emphasis. Is that okay? Then we have the semi-lunar valves. They are like half moon. You know, we talk about lunar eclipse. Semi-lunar and they are like half moon. At the exit of the heart, e.g., the pulmonary valve and the aortic valve. Where do we find them? You find them. The pulmonary valve is between the lungs and the pulmonary artery. Are you getting it? And the aortic valve is the one between the what? The left ventricles and the what? Aorta going out. Left ventricle and aorta has aortic valve. Right ventricle and the pulmonary artery has the pulmonary valve. Is that okay? Those ones are semilunar valves. So the valves in the heart are two. The ones between the atria and then the semilunar valve, which we have the pulmonary valve and the aortic valve. Take note of that. Now, we have what we call single versus double circulation. Now, for single circulation, it occurs in fish. Take note. Is that okay? Single circulation occurs in fish. And as the name implies, single circulation involve blood flow through the heart once during a complete circuit. Is that okay? Blood flows or blood passes through the heart only once during a complete circuit. Is that okay? The blood flows from the heart to the gills, from the gills to the body, and then back to the what? Heart. It flows through the heart only once. You call that single circulation. The blood flows through the heart only once. It is less efficient. Blood loses pressure after passing through the gills. Is that okay? Now, ventilation in fish, ventilation is more like breathing, refers to the process of moving water over the gills to enable the exchange of gases, which is oxygen and carbon dioxide. Fish use a highly efficient system called countercurrent ventilation. So ventilation is fish is what? Countercurrent ventilation. Emphasis on this. If you come out the exam, if anything comes out at all, this one will come out. Ventilation in fish is what? Countercurrent ventilation. You may not really understand what the countercurrent ventilation is, but just know that ventilation in fish, anywhere you say countercurrent ventilation, know that is the correct answer. All right? Countercurrent ventilation. Then we have double circulation. The ones in humans is double circulation. Now, in double circulation, blood passes through the heart twice during one complete circuit. Remember, we said we have pulmonary circulation. The blood reaches the heart, from the heart to the lungs, and then back to the heart again. Are you getting it? Heart to lungs, back to the heart. Then systemic circulation from the heart to the what? Body, and then it goes back to the what? Heart again. So this one, blood flows at least twice through the heart, twice from one circuit. This one is one circuit, heart, lung, heart again. Then this one is another circuit. A circuit is a complete loop, like circular this thing. So if it flows to the heart, to the lungs, to the heart, this one is once. Then heart, body, heart again, another time. Because once there's something I explained here is blood comes to the heart, it flows out of the heart to the lungs, it flows back to the heart again, one circuit. Then from the heart to other part of the body and then back to the heart again, another circuit. So double circulation is when blood passes through the heart twice during one complete circuit. Is that okay? And that is found in humans. And it's a very efficient means of doing that. So that is that for the circulatory system. We'll see in the next one.